Hi, YouTube fans. This is Matt of Post April 6th YouTube channel. Well, I have yet another unfinished story to discuss. I know each story is a little different, but this one is pretty unique. And it's where it takes place. It doesn't take place in California, anywhere in the state of California or Los Angeles. Doesn't take place in Denver, Colorado, or anywhere in the state of Colorado. Nowhere in New York, nowhere in Chicago metro area, Washington, D.C., any of that. It probably takes place, if it's not in Portland, it's one of the surrounding areas near Portland, Oregon. And it is about a man named Johnno Raymond Grinner, Grinner. He was born in 1967, the same year that Lane Staley of Alice in Chains was born, the same year as Kurt Cobain was, but he was born not in the same location as Lane Staley. Kurt Cobain was born in Aberdeen, Washington, and Lane Staley was born in Kirkland, Washington. And it's also the same year as Scott Weiland of Stone Temple Pilots was born. And most of you know this about Scott Weiland. He was not born in anywhere in the state of Washington, even though his alternative rock kind of had a grunge rock sound. Or at least in my opinion it did anyway. He was born in California. I think it might have been Santa Monica, but I don't know about that for sure. It was 1967. I know that because that's a fact. Okay, so what this story is about is Johnno tries some marijuana for the first time. And as soon as he gets home, boy, Dad doesn't give him a beating, but he comes awful close. Yeah, because Dad gets really tough, and I mean really tough. Okay, so I'll go ahead and start reading the story. Johnno Raymond Grinner was a man who was born on April 17th, 1967. He had more common sense and brightness than the late musicians Kurt Cobain, Scott Weiland, and Lane Staley of Alice in Chains. He only tried marijuana once, and as soon as he got home from a bad high at 9:30 p.m., his dad, Sandy Wilson Grinner, was really mad. He did not give Johnno a beating, but had a really dirty look on his face. As soon as he walked into the home, let me make a correction. It was not, it was away from Portland. It was near the California, and we're talking about the upper north part of California. Even at least 200 or 300 miles away from San Francisco. It's so far up. It's way up at the top, and it's further inland. It's Klamath Falls, Oregon. And Klamath Falls is on the near the southern tip. Okay, so let me keep reading. His dad gave him a gruesome deadpan stare. He was like, or actually what he was doing is he's probably reading the newspaper about like this, and he goes, about like that, roughly. Okay, so I'll keep reading. And then he immediately asks his son, "So, you've been smoking some bad grass, huh?" About like that. And Johnno's eyes opened wide because he was really worried he was going to get a major beating. And he's like, he's probably about like that. Then his dad said in a really cold monotone, "Don't jack me around. I can smell the pot you've been smoking." Yes. He probably said it about like that. And Johnno responded in a really scared voice, yes, I did. And it scared me. He spoke about like that. His dad. Yeah. I know all about it. Us fathers don't miss a thing. And then his dad stands up. And grits his teeth like, about like that. And grabs his shirt and pushes him up against the wall. And he said, "You smoke that fucking evil dope again, and I will beat your ass to death, and I will spend the rest of my life in jail, and I won't care about doing the killing either." I mean, he gets about like that. I'm sorry if that's too dramatic, but the dad is mad. Johnno closes his eyes and starts to cry really hard, like, but like that. And then he pleads, "I know that I should have never done that. And I will never smoke that garbage again." Then the dad lets go of his son's shirt and steps back 2 steps and says in a semi-friendly tone, "I know. You won't, 'cause I can tell that dope scared you straight. I read in today. Oh, let me say it again. I read in yesterday's newspaper that a 15-year-old kid was arrested near LA for smuggling over 10 pounds of weed and becoming a big dope dealer. His parents, aunts, and 3 cousins are in California State Pen 2. So you better learn. Marijuana does not pay. It will ruin your life for good. As of this year, being a druggie is not the in thing. So do you get the message now? Johnno responds, yeah, I get the message. And I'm not going to hang out with that lizard Jake Hammond. I'm going to stay away from him. And then his dad gives some great news. Well, you're never going to see Jake again. Johnno, why is that? Sandy the dad, 'cause his mom and dad kicked him out of the house. And then the police will be picking him up any minute now and haul him off to jail. Johnno says. Why? For smoking pot? Sandy the dad, nope. It's worse than that. He stole over $200 from a Albertsons grocery store cash register approximately 4 days ago. And he's going to the slammer for 2 years because he made a death threat against the store manager. And he talked about our governor, Vic ATIYEH, and said he's a low-life faggot Nazi. And after, okay, I didn't do any more typing other than that. But let me pause really quick before I resume talking about what else happens in the story. I did some research about former Governor Vic ATIYEH. He was a governor 30 to 40 years ago. And he was born on February 20th, 1923 in Portland, Oregon. And at the age of 91, he died on July 20th, 2014. I believe he had a serious gastrointestinal problem. It may have been cancer. I don't know specifically what the cause of death was, but it had something to do with severe pain in the intestines. At least I'm pretty sure that's what I heard when I watched a news segment announcing that he passed away. See, this is a news segment that's over 9 years old. That aired 9 years ago when he passed away. You know, the day of or the day after he passed away, when they announced it on a Portland or a Oregon TV station news program. Okay, so back to what else happens after that is the dad just says, your bitterness, kid. I really can't believe you did something that stupid. I just can't believe it. I really thought you were a better kid than this. I'm disappointed in you. Don't worry. I'm not going to spank you. I'm not going to hit you. I'm not going to go upstairs and throw some things away. No. And then he'd say, Johnno, you better be quiet before I change my mind. Let me talk. You're grounded tonight. And you're grounded tomorrow night. After that, no more punishment. Because I know good and well that you're not going to do this stuff again. That really scared you worse than any man can ever be scared. And then Johnno says, all right, Dad, what do you want me to do? Are you hungry? Yeah. What do you want? He said, well, I know we can't go out for dinner. And he's like, ask me for what you know I can make, okay? Don't fuck with me, kid. Don't fuck with me. He said, can you make me a cheeseburger and onion rings? Let me take a look. So he goes in the kitchen and he looks in the freezer and he looks in he looks in the fridge for the meat. He says, man, you shouldn't be this lucky, but you're going to be this lucky. Tell you what. He says, it's going to take about 15 minutes to do this. So, why don't you go upstairs and lay down? No, don't play no music. Just lay down. Have a good cry if you want to. But don't start throwing fits and throwing things around, or I'm gonna belt you. And I mean it. I'm not kidding. I won't, Dad. I won't. I'll just lay still. Good. Keep your word. You better keep your promise with me. I'm telling you. I'm going to, Dad. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to get cooking. So go upstairs, lay down, get yourself together. And he said, what about if I want some drink? Come down and get it yourself. No beer. Soda pop, water, orange juice, any of those things. Now go on, go. I got some cooking to do. Move it. So he goes upstairs, he lays down, and he cries quietly for about 3 or 4 minutes. He gets himself together, he blows his nose real hard a couple of times. He goes in the bathroom, he takes a pee and he spits some mucus out from all the, marijuana and the crime that he did. And he lays down for another about 6-7 minutes with his eyes closed, just going. Trying his hardest to relax himself. And there is one of those, what I call a diner bells. It goes ding, 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 ding. Come on, Johnno. Your dad, the big chef, just made dinner. Hurry up. Let's eat. So what he did was there was some his dad had some onion rings and a piece of pie. That's what the dad wanted. He had a full stomach, but the onion rings taste so good he made it. And he got to eat the cheeseburger the way he wanted. And he says, you want some milk? And he says, no. He says, well, how about some chocolate milk? I bet you got the munchies for sweets. He says, yeah, Dad, how did you know? I told you over and over again, or I'm going to tell you over and over again until you get it through your head. Us dads don't miss a thing. You want chocolate milk or not? Because if you say no, I'm not going to let you change your mind. Yeah, make me some chocolate milk, please, Dad, please. Good, you said please. Maybe you're in a step in the right direction. I hope so. So he goes and makes it. And he even puts a little bit of, you know, the air-powered whipped cream on it. And Dad's like, and Johnno's like, wow. And he sucks on it, and then he goes, he says, Johnno, don't suck in so hard, okay? Be more careful next time. And he eats a cheeseburger and the fries. And then he said, he says, "You want me?" And then Johnno really gets in his mind, I better earn some merit points. He says, "Dad, do you want me to run the dishwasher?" He said, and he says, "That's a good idea, but I want it all done, start to finish. I don't want you wimping out on me." So what he does is he fires up he does the initial things on the sink. He gets the dishwasher, and then he said, Dad, and he goes, "What?" He says, "How do you want me to turn that on?" He says, put it on 3 instead of 2, so it doesn't run quite so long. He says, "Okay." So he puts the detergent in, and then he shuts the door, and then he checks again, and then he puts that, you know, the thing, that compartment that holds the automatic dishwasher detergent, and he makes sure to lock it, and he turns it on 3, and he comes in, he comes walking over and he says, "Okay, Dad." He says, "What do you want me to do now?" He says, "I don't know. Why don't you sit on that couch and I'll think about it." And he turns on the TV. And he says, and he says, commercial says, "Dad, can we watch this?" He says, "Yeah. Let's do that. I got a feeling we're going to find some things out about your nasty former friend, who's a scumbag. Who's the scummiest of scumbags. Ugh, boy. He better never come to this house, or what, Dad? Don't you ask me any questions. Don't you push me over the edge." "No, Dad, I'll shut up about it." He says, "Okay. Stay that way. You watch your mouth." And he says, "You gonna do it?" And he goes, "Yes." And he says, "Now you shaking your head. Does that mean yes?" He says, "Yes, Dad. I'll watch my mouth." "Okay, like I said earlier, you better keep your word. Your dad's starting to get into a good mood. Don't you screw it up, or there's going to be a problem. I mean it." So they watch the news, and they see the thing about the kid really gets into a struggle with the police. He tries to fight back, and what they do is they throw him in the car. We're talking about Jake Hammond, the bad kid. And then his dad looks over and says, "Why are you pursing your lips like that?" "Because I don't want to smile at him getting hurt." And he goes, "Ha ha ha ha. Now go ahead and smile. Just don't brag to your friends about it." "No, I won't. Okay. So I'm going to be asking about this later on. You mean later on this week? I'll know when later on is the later on that takes effect. Okay, kid? Okay. And then after the news is over with, he flips through some channels, and there is a movie, and he says, "Tell you what, He says, and the dad puts the thing on mute. So, and he looks at him and he says, "Tell you what, I'll let you stay home tomorrow." "Really? Do you want me to do some chores?" "Nope, nope, 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 nope. We're gonna go out for breakfast." "Really? We're gonna go out for breakfast? What are we gonna do after that?" "I can't tell you." "Dad, am I gonna be punished?" "No, you're not. But you're gonna be taught a lesson by either social services or by the police." "Oh no, I don't want to go." And he goes, "Johnno. Don't get all dramatic about this, okay?" And he points his finger and says, "You're gonna get taught some things about drug abuse, okay? Don't fart. Don't do no cussing. Don't pick your nose. Don't pick your teeth. Don't put your hands down your pants and scratch your balls, because if you do, I'm gonna thump you upside the head and get you to stop damn quick. Because that's really," he says that's really scummy when kids do that stuff, when they put their hands down their pants and scratch their frickin' balls. When I did that in front of my dad bent me over my knee and he took out a badminton. Hold on, I forget what it was. He took a ping pong paddle and he smacked me hard on my ass about 5 times, and made me go up to my bedroom and stay there the rest of the night. Yes, I'm not kidding, kitty. This happened. Okay. No scratching balls. No. He says, "So, what time do you want me to get up?" He says, "Don't you worry about it. I'll take care of it tomorrow." "So you're staying home from work?" "Yep. I got tomorrow off anyways." "Why?" "It's work related. Don't you ask no questions about it. I'm getting a paid day off, and that's all I'm going to tell you. And don't you talk to your friends about it, or you're going to be grounded. And I mean it." Okay. So anyway, so they watch a little bit more, and he starts and he says, "Johnno, wake up. Go on. Go back upstairs and go to bed, and I'll wake you up tomorrow when it's your time, when it's time to wake you up. All right? Try to have a good night. See you tomorrow." So he goes to bed. He gets in his undies. He falls asleep immediately. And he wakes. He hears his dad say, "Hey, Johnno, wake up! Come on, wake up! Time to get up. We're going to breakfast. Hurry up." He says, "You want them waffles and eggs with hollandaise sauce at that family restaurant. You better," he says, "you better get in there and jump into a shower and get yourself all cleaned up. Come on, move it." So he goes in, showers, and the kid, kid's about 16, 17 years old at this point, roughly. And he shaves because he's starting to get a little bit of stubble around his face. Brushes his teeth. And then he gets dressed and he says, "Johnno, you better be downstairs in 30 seconds. He says, "I'm coming, Dad. I just got to tie one more shoe." And then he comes running downstairs. He says, "All right, good." And he makes a motion like this. "Come on, let's go. Let's get in the car and get going." And then in the car, he says, "Okay, here's what we're going to do today. After we go to breakfast, somewhere right as we're eating or right after we're done, 2 people from Narcotics Division are going to sit down and have a little bit of a. We're going to have a 4-way discussion, but let them do all the talking, and don't ask too many questions. And then what they're going to do is they're going to take you down to the police station, and they got some really sophisticated video equipment down there, and they're going to show you a couple of movies." Yep. So they go down there, and they get seated right away at a nice where it's a booth on one side and it's table chairs on the other. And they order he orders a waffle and eggs, 2 eggs hollandaise, and one English muffin, and they let him have some coffee, because his dad says, "Now look, I don't want you eating that espresso. I want you drinking just regular coffee. You can put cream and sugar or just drink it black, whatever you want to do. Okay?" He said, "Yeah, Dad. I won't argue." He says, "You better not, after what you did yesterday." So they order the food, and he says, and John says, and he says, "Johnno, wait. Let's say grace before the Lord. Close your eyes and go like this." And he does. And then he says, "Amen." And he says, the kid says, "May I say a prayer to the Lord really quick?" He says, "Okay, but please make it quick." And he says, "Dear Lord, please forgive me for smoking something that was ungodly and could have led me towards a form of gluttony. Please help me, dear Lord, to refrain from smoking marijuana and abusing alcohol ever again. Please, Lord. Amen." And the dad says, "Very good. You better mean that 100%. He says, "I do, Dad. I do, Dad. I promise. I swear to God." He says, "Okay." So they start eating. The dad just gets 2 eggs, 2 over easy eggs, a couple of sausage patties, and some nice, I think it would be rye toast. And he starts spreading on this really nice grape jelly. He says, "Dad, can I ask a favor?" And he goes, "It better be a favor that doesn't piss me off, kiddo." "What?" He says, "Can I have one of those slices of toast?" He goes, "Let me think about this for a few seconds. Hold on." And he cuts one of them in half. He says, "Here, eat it all. After you've had the Belgian waffle." And then when they're a little more than 2/3 the way done, the police come in and they shake hands with the dad and the kids, and they're nice, but kind of serious. They have to be. That's their job to do that. And then he makes sure to ask a few questions, And on one of them, the dad gently jabbed him and goes, don't ask that. And then he asks more questions, and then they really talk, and he says, officer, he says, yes, Johnno, what would you like to ask? He says, when will we be finished so I can see the movies that you want me to see? Oh, very good answer. Well, we're gonna talk for just a little more than 5 minutes, and then we're all gonna go down there. Okay? Okay. I'll be quiet and let you do the talking. He says, that's a very good answer, young man. Thank you. And then he keeps talking and talking and talking and talking and talking and talking. And one of the detectives says, because you were so cooperative and you did not smart off to us so much, I got a little treat for you. And he reaches into one of his vest pockets and he says, here. He said, the Klamath, I don't know what the name of the movie theaters are out there, but he would say the Klamath 7. Here's a voucher for one free movie within 30 days. And then he puts it in his wallet. And they talk for about another minute or two, and then they all get, the detectives get into a unmarked squad car, and the dad makes sure to follow them. And the dad says, other than asking that one sentence, I'm impressed. You did good. You didn't give him smirks, and you didn't smart off to him, and you made sure to do the best you could, keep a straight face, and I could tell you, by the way we were looking at him, you're really trying to pay attention. It's good. It's good. So, just, even though you're going to see a couple things that are a little bit gruesome, just try to man up and deal with it the best you can. So, they go into the police department. Then they go downstairs, and they go into this area that would be, I think it's marked something like something conference room or training room. And they unlock it on two different bolts, the doorknob bolt and two different deadbolts. Because see, the police, I would assume that the police would have something in there like that, so that some really highly skilled person who knows how to pick locks could have a harder time doing it. So they go in, they see the movies, the first movie, which is roughly about 20-25 minutes. And then he sees the next movie. And there's some gruesome stuff, because on one of them, you see one kid who snorted an 8-ball of coke, and he's all doing like this with a broken bottleneck on a beer bottle, one of those little ones that's like 12 to 14 fluid ounces. And it doesn't hurt, it doesn't hurt, it doesn't hurt, and he bleed, because he's cussing. And then they then watch that, and they hand him, after they talk with him a little bit more, roughly about 10 minutes, they give him a special community guidebook about drugs and alcohol abuse. And then they're excused, and by this time Johnno is hungry. He says, well, Dad, I'm really hungry. Are we going to go home for lunch? He goes, nah. You did really good. You did a lot better than I thought you would. So here's what we're going to do. He says, you know how you like to go to that place called Silver and Gold Prospect Saloon Bar and Grill. He says, yeah, I love that place. We're going there for lunch. But he says, you keep it under $8 or I'm not going to buy it. Got it? He says, yeah, Dad, I got it. Good. So they go down there and they order stuff. And the one thing that the kids get, he says, it's $8.25. What are you going to do about it? And the kid reaches into his pocket and he hands him $1 and says, why don't you, he says, why don't I give that to you? And the dad just kind of yanks on his head and says, good answer. And he puts it in his pocket. And then after the theater, he says, he says, after this, we're going to go home. He says, no, you had such a very bad experience and you did so well, and I'm only going to be this nice to you once. We're going to Klamath 7 theater. We're gonna go look to see what the next movie is, and then when we know what the next movie is, we'll go shop around in the mall a little bit. So the next movie that they're gonna go see, I'm trying to think of what was out around that time. I don't think it was Footloose because I think that came out in '83 or something like that. I think they went to go see an action film. Yeah. And then they go home and they said, well, Dad, why don't I go upstairs and take a nap? He says, yeah. You've been through quite a bit, go ahead. So he lays down, he takes a nap for an hour. And then about an hour and a half later, he comes knocking on the door, he says, come on. He says, where are we going? He says, you want to go out for dinner, don't you? He says, yeah, I'd love to. Where are we going? He says, the pizza joint. Me and my mom talked it over. We're going. So, let's go. And, you know, he's got his shoes on. And he stops and goes, you got your shoes on, kid. Come on. Let's go have fun. And then after they eat at the pizza joint and they take back some leftovers, they come home and they watch I'm really trying to think of what day of the week this was. You know, if this was Friday, just thought of something. They'd probably watch either Dallas or Falcon Crest or Knots Landing. Yeah. And then after that, Johnno is zonked. He goes upstairs and goes to sleep. And he wakes up the next day and he says, what do you want to do? He says, well, tell you what, I'll make you breakfast. Then after you don't make breakfast, he says, go out and ride your bike. And go have some clean fun instead of some getting into mischief fun. You know what to do. And then after he has breakfast, he goes around riding his bike. And one thing that happens, he doesn't get hurt. But when he's riding the bike this direction, some wacko who's drunk as a skunk and speeding over 100 miles an hour speeds right past him after he hits the brakes. When he's riding the bike on the motorcycle, he sees it and he hits the brakes hard, and he almost goes because he it's both free wheels brake. He hits the front before the back brake. He hits the front brake before the rear brake, but he doesn't fall off the bike. And he thinks, okay, I've only got 3 more blocks to go. I'm just going to walk the bike home. And he tells his dad about it. He says, God damn, a drunk almost did that to you after what you've been through? Well, I'm sorry, kid. I'm really sorry that happened. But you did what was right. Do you remember the license plate? He says, no, I didn't. The guy was going by so fast, I didn't see if he even had a license plate. He says, what kind of car was it? He said it looked like a 1974 Plymouth Duster that had that bright yellow look. Oh, I think I've seen the car. Did it look like it had some scruff marks on the back? He says, yeah, it did. I vaguely remember seeing that for like a split second. Yeah, I think I know who it is. I'm calling the cops about that guy. That guy's really a wacko. So he calls the police about it, and then they have a VCR in the living room, and he says. And he kind of holds it. He kind of holds a VCR tape out like this. And he says, you know what this is, don't you? And he turns it around. He says, you love this movie. It's Bullet. That came out in 1968. You're in for a real blast, kid. We're going to watch this one. And I'm going to get into the popcorn maker and make some good popcorn. So he says, you're going to love this. Hell, you might even write a book about it. Dads do that to make the kids feel loved and appreciated and in a happy mood. And then they watch the movie, and after the movie is over, they watch a late night program that was a rerun of something that isn't aired anymore. And then he falls asleep, and the dad wakes up. Johnno, come on. He says, I'm about to hit the sack, so why don't you just go ahead and go up to your bedroom and get a good night's sleep. So, that's that. Well, I hope all of you found that interesting. And I wished I could say more, but it's time for me to get going. Thank you, everybody, for listening to this. I did the best I could to give the best memory I had of creating this story in my mind. But, it just one of those things. Well, thank you, everybody, and it's time for me to go. Bye-bye now, and if you've not subscribed yet, please subscribe to my YouTube channel, and goodbye.